Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fasten your seatbelts because it's finally here. World Championship 2020 play-in stage day one. It hasn't even been that long that we haven't had games, but it's felt like an eternity, Mark.
Usually I make some type of segue here trying to make a joke. I'm going to save you guys the time. I don't care about making a joke right now. Worlds is here. None of that matters. Let's get right into the games. I'm pretty hyped.
Now, before we get into the games, we got to highlight this opening ceremony. It's not really an opening ceremony, a tease, whatever you want to call it, because you knew that in Shanghai, in China, with fans not really being a part of this whole event, they'd be doing some crazy stuff, whether it's augmented reality or whatever they did. But the actual stage where they're playing for play-ins, I don't know what was going on. I don't know what the players could actually see, but the opening sequence that they had was pretty damn cool.
Hey man, this is the expansion. This is that next level that we have been seeing from the LPL. We saw it debut with KDA. We saw it expanded with Giants. But if you were not paying attention to the LPL in that meantime, you missed out on some pretty cool shows. We got to see KDA revamped even and better with that AR technology for some of the LPL events. This is it. This is what we've been building towards and keep on building, because this technology, it is pretty damn cool to see as a viewer from home, to see something like that, to see these type of, iconic things put out there and that type of scene shown out there. Hey, it's next level, baby.
And it's just hilarious because, the host spinning all this stuff coming in, and you can just see, you can tell Mad Lions and the other squad, INTZ, are just looking at her because they don't see any of this. They're just looking at her like, what the hell are you doing, man? But,
yeah. Hey, look, I'll take it, man. For a viewer experience at home, that was pretty cool.
So we're going to go through all the games. We're going to go in order that they were played, which means it's not necessarily the most hype match that we're going to get into first, but we're going to go in order, and it is Mad versus INTZ that kicked things off, and the first big highlight play of the World Championship is the worst teleport
no.
you're ever going to see.
No.
I don't know what,
man.
like, how do you not know you have TP on Urgot? I don't even know what summoner he thought he had. I don't know what was going on there.
He flashed earlier, so it's not like you're fit, like I need to get the flash to go in or something. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do there, but yeah, it is the most unfortunate and brutal of looking misplays in that top side. And of course, one of the tough things about that for Tay was that not only were you trying to obviously get the first blood of this Worlds, but and the game itself, but man, you made the first blunder and you let Shadow get away for that one. And again, if you're going up against an Evelyn, you got a chance to put her in the dirt real early. You better be taking those ones. And unfortunately for this side, INTZ, they missed out on that one.
Now, luckily, Tay absolutely bounces back in this game and ends up, he's finished. He was 9-1 at one point. He almost single-handedly hard carried this game to the favor of INTZ, but when team fights did start rolling around, maybe it was a little closer than you would have expected Mad Lions to be, but their debut game, the team fights, they were definitely more in control.
Yeah, there was certainly a couple of times that it was an overextension. It was an overreach, right? Trying a little bit too hard, a little bit, feeling a bit of the pressure, right? That this is World, this competition has been raised up. We need to perform. We want to put out that good impression. These type of things all combined. And that's where you start to see some of these mistakes come through, or, misexecution, things of that nature. And that's what you saw a little bit in some of those team fights for Mad Lions. But overall, as you said, in this game, they were the ones having that upper hand and that better execution overall in some of these team fights. But certainly that's why I think if you look at the, score of the game and the pacing of the game, stalling it out, and the name that you mentioned, Tay, that big mistake with that TP in the top side, he was a monster for the rest of the game afterwards, certainly making up for it and making those plays come through. The snipes with the Urgot ultimate. I don't know if people are forgetting how dangerous Urgot can be and what he has been in the past, but these buffs have creeped up on all of us, and man, that was a scary Urgot at the top side.
And maybe this looks like a different game if that first Baron, where there's no smite for Mad Lions, it got a little shaky. You almost thought the Ash volley was going to steal it out of Macau, but that ended up not being the case. But maybe it's different if INTZ picks up that Baron. Aside from that kind of sloppy Baron move, there were still some questionable moments, but Mad Lions start their Worlds 2020 1-0 and 0. INTZ goes 0 and 1. Second match on the Rift, you had PSG versus Rainbow Seven, and we've talked countless times about all the roster issues. 3 subs coming into this event for the second seed from the PCS, but they didn't look like subs in this game.
No, man, these guys, the synergy that they were showing through, the responses to some of the engages and pressure that Rainbow Seven was trying to get off. Absolutely, these guys look like they've been playing together all year. Was the type of form and communication that you saw coming through from the PSG side. Really impressed with what they put out in the first game, because obviously, dealing with these type of changes, dealing with this type of disruption on such a short notice. Hey, absolutely got to tip your cap in getting anything close to this level of performance and this level of synchronicity across the roles.
And let's remember, it's not like these were academy players making their debut playing professionally. Like, these are guys who have played a full year. They're starters on AHQ. They're starters on Machi Esports. Kongyu and Uniboy are guys we've seen for years now, playing not just in the PCS or LMS, but we've seen them internationally before. So having those guys being your subs obviously helps. And Kongyu in particular, by the way, 25 Magi stacks, 13, 1, and 8 on the Jungle Echo. Not bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure PSG is going to be saying after this, like, Kongyu, can you stay?
Yeah, we'll just keep starting.
Can we add him? Like, we just keep you here, man. You're doing great. Yeah, they absolutely have stepped right in. And you said, yeah, this isn't like, going down into gold or platinum and saying, look, we really need someone to fill in this role for Clash. No. This is, again, picking up a pro player and the pro player impact coming through. Still, odds against them. They found a way to come through, like what I saw from PSG. And again, even talking about all these type of things, that's a feel-good type of story right there. Getting that type of victory with everything stacked against you feels good on the world stage.
And I don't want to flame too hard, because that's not what Worlds is about, right? But Alone's Zoe in this game, that Zoe didn't look like she was in the game. Like, I remember halfway through this game, maybe even 25 minutes in, you're thinking, oh my God, there's a Zoe in this game. Wow. I forgot.
Not only was not really the performance there, obviously, but just what was going on the other side. There was nothing. What was the Zoe supposed to be able to do and how the rest of the game unfolded? Unfortunate is the best way I can put that one.
Yeah, but PSG, 3 subs. They start 1-0. Rainbow Seven 0-1. Obviously, the other match, Legacy, making their debut for the OPL. They've had a decent amount of hype. We talked about them a little in our preview. INTZ, quick turnaround. They're back on the Rift, and it just wouldn't be the OPL without it being an incredibly back and forth and nail-biting experience on the Rift.
And look, I want to get to giving Legacy their props here, but man, does this feel bad for INTZ. Just getting down and losing these 2 games right early. This is a really, really dangerous spot, obviously, to be in now as far as this plans go and how it's revamped single round robin. Not the start anybody would be looking for. And then Legacy in this match, as you said, a lot of the positives that we were looking for and looking to see executed on, slightly. They got it. Part grades, half grades. I'll give them on those executions, because, yeah, there are certainly sometimes in some of the macro play you see come through that you're thinking, man, one of these squads, even a team like a Mad Lions, they get it together. Absolutely, the macro will be there to punish them. But hey, in this one, props to Legacy, props to Tapun. That was one that I was watching heading into this one that you wanted to see them play through, get those advantages. Not exactly the carry performance that you would be wanting to see from him and that he has delivered in the past, but it certainly was an avenue of pressure, and it was one unable to respond to from the Brazilian side.
What's the grade for Raze's chance of dodging a Bard ulti?
Those are some hard ones to get away from. And look, buffering it at the right time to get that jump away as you're moving as that golden statue, that's not easy. That is not an easy one to time there. So certainly some of those ones worked out okay, and other times I'm getting blown up on the spot.
Yeah, and some of his, rocket jumps forward. Positioning was definitely a big question for him. I think this game's a lot easier if he's alive for a lot of these team fights, or stays alive longer in them, because he had so much money. He had so much farm. His CS numbers were fantastic, but just couldn't auto in a lot of these fights. And when he did, it was a convincing win in the favor of Legacy. But, that's just an off game a bit, He'll bounce back.
Yeah, but This is one of those things that we've been talking about in this lead up to the event, was that Bard was going to be a big, highly contested pick for a lot of supports. Right here, you see exactly that come through. You got a support that's able to land those ultimates on a semi-consistent basis. Oh boy, that is, and I say semi-consistent because getting consistency, that's a hard enough ask. I reserve that for a very select few of the supports that we're going to have at this event. But the semi-consistency, you can ask for that at this level, this stage, and you got that in this match, and you saw the difference maker that it was those plays, just not enough times for the Brazilians.
And an extra painful loss because they did even have a Mountain Soul in this game, even though they were down in gold most of the match. But anytime you're having a Soul and losing, it feels a little bit extra bad.
Yeah, and especially as we know, the defensive stats that you do gain from something like that Mountain Soul, that one hurts. It's not the most crazy thing, but yeah, that's certainly a misexecution, getting that Soul and not finding a way to cross the finish line, beating the other Nexus.
So 0-2 now for INTZ. You basically need to go 3-0 now to have a chance, because 2-3 is not. I mean, I guess you're getting to the best of fives with 2 and 3, so avoiding last is really the main goal if you want to keep your run alive, but not. You're digging your hole early for the Brazilian team. So the last two games, it's where it gets spicy. That's where the fun happens. These are the games everybody wants to talk about.
But Eric, LGD's playing. You mean that their play was spicy, that they were the ones bringing the heat?
Well, listen, PSG, great start against Rainbow 7, but it's Rainbow 7. Let's see. Okay, they got LGD. This is a wake-up call. The subs are going to be an issue. They're not the same team we're expecting. Wait. LGD just... This game was wild to watch. LGD, it felt like they were just... We're the better team. Whatever. Yeah, we'll 4v5 around Dragon. We'll just outplay it.
Massive disrespect coming through from the LGD side is my read on this one right now. You can go down the draft, and even if you're talking about picking some personal comfort, that type of composition and what you're putting together there, that is absolutely saying, we don't think you're good enough to beat us on anything that's going to be, meta competitively put together. We can just do what we want, have some fun here, style on you. That's what came through with the sinning composition in that draft, and they were punished for it. And that is a fantastic thing to watch on the world stage, especially, again, all that story about PSG and the subs and everything else, put that to the side. Punishing a team when they draft like that against you, when they think that they are that clear upper hand on you, man, that is one of the best things to watch.
And I mean across the board, you could look at LGD. I talked about that dragon fight. You're in a 4v5. Just let them give up the dragon. It's basically a meaningless dragon. It's not even soul point, but LGD, oh yeah. And you even hear the casters say they believe they can outplay in these moments. You can't just outplay a 4v5 against a professional team.
You can, but you got to be pretty much, faker 1, faker 2, faker 3, faker 4, and you got to have misexecution on the other side at the same time. There's a lot there, and it was really one of the situations where, yeah, you can ask for an outplay here, you can ask for an outplay here, given what should be the skill gap. But you were asking for too many outplays in too short of a time in situations that you're not going to be getting them at all. And that was one of those ones where you looked at the situation and you said, look, if you think you're better, if you think you are so much better and all these other things, which you clearly do given your draft and how you're posturing for this play, give up this objective and fight later at a better strength, at a better position, create a better opportunity. That is what you should be doing as a team of this level of skill that people have talked about and what you've shown us up against something like PSG. And that's, again, not considering all the situational circumstances that PSG is playing through. And they were able to come through with the victory here. Look, when you talk about the individual performances, as well as obviously this cockiness coming through from LGD in their play and draft, you're looking at the individual performances. You can't excuse anybody. Every single player had misexecutions. Single player had greedy plays. You had to look all across the board. And I think the big name for me right out of this one is definitely Shie. Put on a Lucian, looking to carry.
He started Lucian mid 2017.
That positioning there in those team fights was atrocious in what was going on. Absolutely bad play coming through from Shie. He is someone capable of much better. And now what we're seeing in this playing group needs to step up and deliver on that better if LGD are going to find that number one spot. Because look, that's it. It's a failure if you're coming out of this as the 2 or 3. We can talk about all these other ones, and sure, maybe you're getting out, blah, blah, blah. But the expectation and demand is you getting out as the number one seed for your side of the play-in. And if you're not holding up that end of the bargain, I'm sorry, you're coming in as a disappointment.
I felt bad for Long Jing in this game because he seemed like the only one playing on a decent level for LGD.
I was gonna say, like, that's he didn't have really any impact, and I guess you can't really blame him too much for that.
He was trying.
Yeah, that's the thing, is he was certainly maybe the only one that can get through and say, look, I did what I could in this game and what was going on and what was happening elsewhere around the map. I tried, guys. Can't put it all on him.
Can only do so much as the top lane volley bear. But all that being said, huge credit to PSG because they were dealt a terrible hand for this World Championship. And on day one, they obviously put the work in with these new guys on their rosters, and they showed the hell up. They look great. All of a sudden, us included, been sleeping on them, kind of writing them off with all these issues, but that was a mistake, obviously.
Yeah, look, from what I saw preparing for it, I was like, look, okay, they're okay. They're going to be able to provide some of that, middle pack of one of these play-ins type of punches, right? Push for a 2, push for a 3 type of situation. And then you slide in all the changes that had to happen, obviously, with quarantine and everything else. And that's where you start doubting. That's where you start going, okay, you know what? I'm going to make an excuse. I don't need to really be thinking about them as seriously. But that's you and I. We're not the ones playing at this type of event. We're not LGD. And LGD, who has had a history in the past of not showing up to expectations at the world stage and delivering. Yeah, that's an organizational thing. Obviously not the individual players at this point. But, man, it came through. LGD, once again, not delivering on the world stage.
LGD, league's greatest disappointment, coming in early at the 2020 World Champion. It's only one game, guys. They could easily still finish 4-1 and be first, but I was hesitant to say if they'd drop a game. And, that got out the door pretty early, game 1 for them. The bangers didn't stop there because we had NA versus EU to wrap things up, and we saw Mad Lions start the day with INTZ. This was Team Liquid's debut and Tactical's debut on the international stage, and they say, you know what? Let's give our boy a Twitch. Give him a Twitch pick. Why not?
Hey, man, we haven't seen the Twitch pick come through for them in North America, but they say, it's time for Worlds. It's time to do a bit of preparation. Time to make some changes. The Twitch comes through for Tactical. Love that pick right now and what's going on in the meta. It's not really about Twitch getting bumped up as much as it is everybody else has kind of been knocked down or tweaked around something else. That they're not at that power that you would think. So they come right back down into that zone where Twitch is still powerful and he's going to have that impact. That's what we're looking for Team Liquid. And look, we say impact. Oh boy, Impact has shown up on the world stage. That world spot is there, checked in. My boy, he's there. That's a world champion in that top side, and he came through major for Team Liquid, especially in that mid game, coming through for them when it was still dicey against the Mad Lions.
There was the moment where he's in a legit 1v5 alone, and I was anticipating him to get a kill. That's how well he was playing in this game. I thought, well, you better send somebody else. I don't know if 5 is enough. He didn't get a kill, but he played fantastic. It was a huge top gap, and the early game actually looked rough for Team Liquid. We haven't seen their early game be that good in North America, but Shadow was dancing all over Broxa in the jungle. He was, I think, 2 levels ahead at one point, and that's on Lee Sin. Supposed to have impact in the early game.
Yeah, let alone Lee Sin trying to have impact in the early game. This is Broxa's Lee Sin. This is the one that, look, if you have all your criticisms for Broxa, most of them, for most people, stop at the Lee Sin and they acknowledge that, yeah, okay, look, Lee Sin, sinning champ, all these other type of things, but Broxa time and time again finds a way to make it work and have a bigger impact in the games. This one wasn't that. It didn't happen early. And it didn't really happen later either. Broxa, not the one that you really need to be talking about in this one.
He had the lowest skill participation on the team at the end of the game.
Right. As we said earlier, huge performances from Impact, especially in that mid-game to help Team Liquid out. Tactical coming through on that Twitch. That Twitch was doing work, doing major damage. Aside from maybe 1 or 2 times, the positioning was fantastic from Tactical.
Aggressive flashes, though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my boy, hey, man, this is a region where you're playing up against Wild Turtle, and my boy Wild Turtle, yeah, he's at Worlds, too. Put some respect on Turtle, finally. But yeah, tactical. He's been playing against Turtle. He's ready with those flashes forward. He gets them coming through. Look, if you're talking, we'll get to the Mad Lions side, but if you're talking about Team Liquid, this is fantastic because I think on an international level, you can hope and demand a little bit more from Broxah. I think that experience and veteran status that he has, you can lean on that and hope for a little bit better performances from him. He absolutely can deliver that. Impact, you got the world's buff coming through. Jensen, not the best performance out of Jensen, but it got the job done. And so that is a good sign. When that's not the best job that he could do, you know that Jensen is going to have better. And especially internationally, he should be delivering better. That's going to be the demand for Team Liquid. And then bottom side, it was perfect, man. This was the toughest matchup that I think you're going to get, specifically in that bottom lane in the play-ins, and you passed it with flying colors. Not only was Core JJ a much more impactful, engaging support than Kaiser was in this one, Tactical stepped up. Excuse me, and I know there's a champion difference, but he certainly made the impact come across.
Yeah, and obviously just drafting the Twitch shows the confidence that they have on this rookie on the international stage. And even Jensen, yeah, he was behind some pretty big CS numbers against Humanoid Syndra, but he was very clearly, I mean, first off, he's on TF. He was very much playing for his laners in this game, porting bot, basically on cooldown as soon as he could, as soon as he dinged level 6 to get that Twitch rolling, and it worked out for them. So yeah, Jensen maybe didn't have the best numbers in this game, but I still think overall he had a pretty solid game.
And for Team Liquid, this is fantastic. This was one that you and I didn't expect, and a lot of other people wouldn't have expected you to be able to step up on day one and get this big victory against the Mad Lions, the big team in your group. So that's fantastic. But on the Mad Lions side, yes, this drops you down to 1-1. Still no real reason to panic, obviously.
No.
There are certainly some underperforming issues that you can look at and some things that you want to tweak. The Evelyn, that's a big one for me right away. I know that you got the advantages early in this game against Team Liquid. The execution and performance, and even just the way that the rest of the team is playing around it, I'm not seeing it from the Mad Lions. This is one of those ones where I'm feeling the jungle echo of last year, where it's one where I know that pick works. I know it's a good pick. I know these other type of things. I know why it's going to work and all these things. It just isn't functioning in these compositions on this play right now. And look, this is one where I think that the Evelyn is not that. I think the pick is itself fine. I think the issue is with the way Shadow is playing and piloting it, the decision making, and the nerves. You can clearly see that in the execution coming through from Shadow on this side, a rookie coming through on the world stage. And this is one where, look, you talk about rookie, you talk about veterans, and a lot of times it just ends up being story, just ends up being filler. This is one where you can clearly look at the performance and clearly talk about how he did throughout the year. That's not the Shadow that we are seeing normally through the LEC. That is certainly someone who's dealing with that extra additional pressure, that extra additional value that you're putting on the results.
And it's just a little bit weird because the jungle echo you would see last year across multiple games, different players piloting it, and it didn't look good. Eve, I mean, you're talking about just within the LEC, self-made and even inspired, were annihilating on that pick. So it's a little weird to see Shadow struggling on a pick that seems to be so strong in this meta.
And it's a slightly worrying trend. This is one where, again, Shadow is a rookie, and there's a long time, a lot of things to fix. Not a lot of things to fix, but a lot of time to fix the things that you want. Unfortunately, you don't have a lot of time at Worlds. That's the issue. Obviously, it's a much smaller window here. You need to perform, need to improve. And when you look at the way that he played the Evelyn, and you look at things how they've gone in the LEC on certain other picks, something like a Hecarim, it didn't really ever work out for the side of Mad Lions. The Hecarim pick was one that, again, you see other players, you see other regions, you see that success coming through, just not with the Mad Lions. And that's one where, look, you don't have to have success with these certain champions, but you should probably be avoiding these champions if you're not able to have that success. And look, we saw it with the Hecarim earlier in the LEC. The Evelyn seems to be fitting into that category because it's not like the Lee Sin that we've seen from Shadow and all these other champions that he has been able to, the Lee Sin, the Lilia, things like that he has been able to execute on.
And guys, it's the first game of NA versus EU. Mad Lions is 1-1. It's absolutely fine. They're still going to be favorites for top 2. They still should be favorites for top 2. But just listen, just cool it with the Team Liquid talk over Mad Lions, because it's going to come back to bite you. There's a lot more NA versus EU games that are going to happen. You're going to have to see a lot more NA games, and if you're putting people down after this first game, it's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah, hey, check yourself, NA fans. There's no reason for you to be cocky and pushing and putting anybody down type of situation. Should you feel good about this win? Hell yeah, you should feel good about this one. Should you feel good about how Tactical performed? Hell yeah, you should feel good about that. But keep it in check, keep it responsible, and get yourself prepared for the next matches.
It's NA week 1, guys. What happens in week 2 usually?
Good performances. The week 1 continues. That's what happens. No.
Every year we've seen it happen time and time again. Just day 1 of play-ins in the books. Unfortunately, we won't be here Saturday, Sunday, but we'll be here on Monday to recap what happened on the weekend and whatever goes down on Monday, because play-ins go quick, man. By Wednesday, they're done. It's all over, and we got our 4 teams.
You got to be ready, boys.
You got to be ready for all the action. But that's it today for League Unlocked. Mark and Eric here with you guys. Thanks for chilling out, Max, and relaxing all cool. Catch you guys on the flippity flop.